Hey, everybody. Pete Werner here with Rhino Clavin.
Hello.
And we thought we would do a little impromptu show tonight just because of the enormous amount of news that is coming out since we wrapped our show at like 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah.
So I want to start out by saying Disney had their earnings call today and made the announcement that Shanghai Disneyland will be opening on May 11th. Now, their downtown Disney district, along with the Disneyland Hotel in Shanghai, have been open now for about a month or so. And so this is now them going to a next phase. And it does give us an idea. I thought I had this pulled up, but I didn't. This does give us an idea of what we might expect when Walt Disney World opens. And we're going to get to that in a second. But they are, during this phase, they're going to have limited attendance at Shanghai Disneyland. Tickets and reservations will be required and must be booked in advance. So they're not going to be taking anybody just kind of walking up wanting to buy a ticket and come into the park. Social distancing will be observed in queues for attractions and restaurants, other facilities throughout the park, as well as attraction vehicles. Guests and cast members required to wear face masks.
Oh, guests too.
Guests and cast members required to wear face masks. Tickets are going to be available on the Shanghai Disneyland website beginning May 8th at 8 a.m. A limited number of daily tickets will be available during the first phase of reopening. On May 11th, some of the show's attractions and shopping and dining locations will be operating with controlled attendance. Normally, daily attendance for Shanghai Disneyland is around 80,000 people. They're projecting that they're going to be allowing about 20 to 25,000 in the park. Now there's a lot of other requirements that are not going to apply to us. China is using the health QR code. Mm-hmm. You have to get tested, and then you get this green QR code that basically says you're allowed to be places. And so some of this stuff is not going to be a part of our world, no pun intended. But I had said last week that we're going to hear something this week. And so this was certainly, I thought it was going to be more, and the week's not over yet. It's only Tuesday, but so I was surprised on the earnings call that they mentioned this, but then didn't mention anything about Walt Disney World. But here's what I found. There were two things I found interesting. Right after that earnings call, the Disney Parks blog put out a message from Dr. Pam Hymel, Hymel, who's the Disney Parks Chief Medical Officer. I don't think any of us have ever heard of this lady.
No, I know, right?
There she is, right? There she is. And Dr. Hymel shared some of the ideas that Disney is exploring for reopening the U.S. parks. That it would be done in phases. We've said this. Disney's looking at all the locations and how best to begin the process. Some locations will see a gradual or partial opening, with retail and dining locations open prior to theme parks. That's basically Disney Springs. Physical distancing and capacity measures. Disney will need to implement guest capacity measures in order to comply with government guidelines on physical distancing. They are currently looking at what technology would be best to aid in that process, using the Play Disney Parks app or virtual queues through the My Disney Experience or Disneyland apps. Cleanliness and sanitation. Disney will increase their cleaning and disinfection, but they're still working on determining when that should take place. This is all on the DIS. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and read it. What's interesting about this is that in the earnings call, they said that Shanghai would be opening on the 11th of May. They also said something else. Um, what's his name? Lex Luthor.
Chapek? Yeah,
Chapek.
Lex Luthor. Yeah, I like that.
Uh, he said that Cruise Line will be the last product to come back online,
Hmm.
and that it's a couple of months away. So let's stitch these things together. We have the earnings call saying Shanghai's opening on the 11th. We have the chief medical officer that nobody knew existed um, and start telling people in a blog post, this is what we're thinking about. That's called softening the ground,
Yeah.
right? That's kind of putting it out there. That's a test balloon. How are people going to react to this? And we have Chapek saying that Cruise Line's going to be the last one to reopen, and we're a couple of months away, which puts us into, for Cruise Line, the July-August timeframe, which is what we've been saying. That I believe right now the CDC is saying cruise lines are not allowed to operate out of the U.S. until July 18th, I want to say. And I've been saying mid-July is what I think DCL is going to reboot. And it might be late, maybe then, maybe in early August. Carnival Cruise Line now going in August. And Ryan, it looks like you want to get a word in here. So,
I was just saying, I was having this conversation with a friend the other day about how he had read some speculation on how the cruise line was going to function, and saying that maybe in the beginning, in the initial, it's just the ships going from, like, I don't know, Port Canaveral or Miami, wherever they're going to go out of, and just going to the island and back. And so that's why they can keep everyone like isolated and track them. But
we speculated on that 2 or 3 weeks ago on the DCL show. That's probably exactly what they're going to do. Is they're going to do sailing, cruises to nowhere.
Yeah.
That go to Castaway Cay and come back. And again, because that's something Disney has complete control over, right? They'll have complete control over the island.
Yeah.
They'll have complete control, well, as much control as they can over the ship. And they're not going to be worried about people getting off at different ports and coming back on having been exposed to coronavirus.
Well, and you have that. Yeah. I was going to say you have that register of everybody too. So if anybody does get sick, you can easily notify and trace it back, or it keeps accountability a lot tighter.
Right. So all these things, I'm telling you, we're going to hear an announcement either later this week or early next week about Disney Springs. We were talking about the parking garage. One of the parking garages at Disney Springs has been reopened for cast members, which means they're getting ready to open, right? They're bringing cast members in, and they're getting ready to reopen Disney Springs. It's the only reason you do that. Interesting that they chose not to mention any of that on the earnings call. I think they want to manage expectations for World. Shanghai, is important. I'm not saying Shanghai isn't important, but the cash cow is here in Orlando. We've been saying the time frame. I think January 1st, God forbid, June 1st for Walt Disney World to be fully reopened. That's going to have to mean a soft opening. That's going to have to mean a soft opening in the next 2 weeks for Disney Springs, and then a phased opening beyond that before they get to the June 1st timeframe. So that's what do you think, Rhino? Do you think, am I crazy?
No, you said June 1st the other day, and then I was like, no. And now you're saying it, and after kind of what they said today, I keep thinking we're closer than we are because it's only May 5th today. So that's a whole month away still. And, Florida technically had phase one. Jeez Louise, had phase one opening. Got to stop talking with these hands. Had phase one opening on Monday, and then, even more businesses are going into opening on the 11th. It kind of only makes sense to me that the restaurants and the dining and the shopping area that they have would go, and then seeing how that functions, they have to at least, even if it doesn't open June 1st, they have to at least prepare for the opportunity that they'd be able to open on June 1st. So people are going to have to go back to work somehow, right?
I also think that they may very well not announce the reopening of Disney Springs. They just may reopen it.
Yeah, just one day
Because
stuff is going.
I think that might happen because think about it. What are you trying to avoid here? You're trying to avoid crowds. If you tell people today that Disney Springs is going to open next week,
Yeah.
you're going to have a lot of people trying to get into Disney Springs. And I think they're going to want to avoid that. So,
Well, yeah. I live down the street from Mall of Millennia, and that's where I'm nervous about that sort of stuff too, about people not being able to, like, it's going to be overrun. Oh,
what was
I don't know
that?
what that beep was. That was weird.
Neither do I. This is what happens when you let Rhino produce.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm into Star Trek, so it was a door opening somewhere and somebody on another deck.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, I don't know. I feel like what I've been thinking was the time frame for this is accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Is accurate. Now they closed Shanghai Disneyland when? End of January?
Yeah, I think it was January.
I think is when that closed. And so that's 3 months, roughly 3 months, 3.5 months that it has been closed. If we reopen fully June 1st, that would be a little more than 2 months that we were closed, because we closed. When did we close? 28th of March?
It was
something like that.
Yeah, no, it was before that, because it was already closed on St. Patrick's Day. So it was. I think it like officially closed that Sunday before St. Patrick's Day. So whatever that would have been like the 16th or something.
We'd be talking about 2.5 months. So let's see, and March, April, and about 3.5 months. So we'd be, if we opened in January. Why do I keep saying January? I gotta knock that off. I hope
that's not a sign.
Like a psychic slip. But if we open June 1st, then I think we're looking at slightly shorter closing time than Shanghai had. But
did you see that you could make a fast pass for like June? There were 2 days in June that you could make a fast pass for the other day. It was like, I think it was the 1st and the 2nd. Somebody sent me a message, and I was like, oh, I just thought, okay, well, yeah, you can probably make a fast pass for whenever people are able to book a vacation or something, or for anybody that had a pre-booked vacation or something. But it was somebody that just said the app was just working all of a sudden. I'm like, oh, probably just a mistake.
I wonder.
You checking now? Because
I'm gonna do. Well, let me see.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I don't know if we have anybody in the.
Oh, there's a lot
in the chat. No, I'm saying like one of our people. In the chat room.
Oh.
Or unless you can monitor for questions, we'll take some questions.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of random questions that have nothing to do with what we're talking about. People, stay on topic.
Well, what are they asking?
They want to know what the silver thing is over your right shoulder. I think it's that the recycled spaceship part.
Yeah, I bought this. I bought this at Festival of the Arts a couple of years ago. They're called Wobots, WOAH-BOTZ, and he takes all these recycled pieces and makes these awesome pieces of art. And this is number 740, and I don't know if you can see that or not. The artist has signed it.
Oh, that's cool.
But I got this at the. This is a martini shaker.
Oh, I never noticed that.
Yeah, this is like a martini shaker here. And that's what he does. He finds all these like random scrap pieces, and he creates this stuff. I fell in love with it. So, and the artist was there. The artist was there that day, so I got to talk to him. It was really cool. So, that's what that is.
Yeah, I double checked, and my friend said it. He said you can make a fast pass for June 1st and the 2nd, and actually that was just Sunday night. He told me that, and so I'm like, oh, okay. I think I was watching him.
Well, let's see.
Someone's asking me for advice on corgis. I will tell you, lots of walks, lots of playtime, and they love their attention. So just be prepared. Be prepared for that. Give them the love they deserve.
Um, you gotta love.
Oh yeah, it won't work when you need it to.
No, no, it never does. It never. I despise this app. I really do. Um,
I heard also that
June 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
really okay, so you can still make them.
I am looking at June 1st right now. Barnstormer, Buzz Lightyear, Dumbo the Flying Elephant, Haunted Mansion, Small World, Jungle Cruise. How badly do I want to get back in this park? Oh my
Yeah, right.
God. I'm. Let's see. Any of the big ones?
Because all of those I feel like could accommodate social restrictions. So it's interesting that those are the
Big
ones.
Big Thunder, Peter Pan, Seven Dwarfs, and Space Mountain not available. But right now it's showing. It's showing first, second, third, and fourth
Hmm.
are available. But then again, it's also showing May 31st is available. So, yeah, I'm getting actually all of May is available.
Like,
So that may
I was
not
going to
mean
say they probably just left the system on then. Like, who's answering the phones anyways?
well,
Like,
oh no. Nope, I take that back. Hold on. May 31st came up, but when I went, I mean, all of the dates from today on are blue. You can link them, you can click them, but it's no good on the 11th.
Hmm.
No good on the 18th. 25th of May is good. 23rd of May is not. May 24th. From May 24th through June 4th, fast passes are available.
interesting.
Fast passes are available May 24th through June 4th.
Somebody is asking, are you concerned? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, because Paul Krieger is also
Oh,
sending
perfect.
through some
Okay.
questions. Would you two personally go to the parks on June 1st if they open? I am not.
No.
I am not. I am in a high risk group as a diabetic. And for that reason, I have decided I'm waiting to see what happens before I go out of the house.
Yeah.
So, but that's a personal decision. I'm not saying if the guys feel comfortable
You know Craig will be
going,
there.
I'm not going to require it
Yeah.
of any of my staff. My staff does not have to go if they're not comfortable. But once Disney reopens, I feel that they won't do that unless they feel that they can do it responsibly. And everything that they've done through this whole thing has been responsible. So I'm, at that point, I would say to the guys, if you want to go to the parks, that's fine, you can. I ask that you be careful, certainly follow all the guidelines, but I would not be. I would not be, not yet. Not yet.
No, I live with, I live with somebody who's at higher risk. I also whenever I do get sick, it is in my lungs, so it's not something I mess around with. But
Well, also with that giant head,
yeah,
it's a lot more difficult to avoid the coronavirus particles, right? Because it's like the size of like two or three heads, and so he's at higher risk.
I have to wait for my extra large masks to come in to cover the distance because
Yeah,
my
really.
head's long, so I had to measure from here to
They're
here.
having a they're having to take a circus tent and cut it up to make
Yeah.
a mask for Rhino. Like normal masks are just like this little thing. But what else we got? What else we got coming in?
They were asking. Somebody asked about. Are you concerned that if Shanghai fails, how that impact will have on the rest of the parks in the world? Do you think that there'll be enough time?
I think you have to factor in, and this is true with all of the parks, whether it's you're talking Hong Kong, Shanghai, or Tokyo, Paris, or here in the United States. Do not underestimate the effect that local culture and local politics will have on that decision. In China, they can get away with doing things that we could not get away with doing here. You know, we've got to remember, we have a Bill of Rights. We have the Constitution here, right? So there are certain things that you can't do. China is a communist country. And it is, in some ways, a police state. And, you know, you look at the stories about the doctor who was the first one to identify coronavirus and how he disappeared before he turned up dead of the disease. So I don't know that, you know, Disney's was not going to be able to open Shanghai without the government saying it was okay. Right? So they will follow the guidelines that the state recommends. But in our case, I think Disney's probably going to tell the state when they're going to reopen theme parks, not the other way around. But that's just, I think that it will be based on what we're seeing on the ground here. If all of a sudden there's this massive spike in new infections, and also it's like we have to wait and see what the entry protocol is going to be for the parks. Mm-hmm. Are they going to require testing? Are they going to require temperature checks? Are they going to require masks? We got to see. Those are all going to be factors that are going to determine how they open and how they operate. So we don't know if something that happens in Shanghai will necessarily trigger a chain reaction to the other parks around the world. Again, like I said, you've got different politics in different countries that are also and local culture.
Yeah.
So
I think it's going to take a while for the United States or if what's going on regularly seems to be a reflection of it, it's going to take a while for people to adopt the norm of wearing a mask. The problem is people see it as a sign of weakness, but I see it as a sign of strength that you're helping somebody else. You know, it's not just about you; it's about the other person that you come in contact with and stuff like that.
Well, I think and I'm not going to get into the politics of this, I promise.
Yeah,
but it's not so much that; it's more about the government telling you what you have to do, right? You have to wear a mask. Now, we know there are traffic laws. We know there are certain things. You're not allowed to beat somebody up. You're not allowed to kill somebody. There are laws, and if you break them, you go to jail. And I think everybody kind of accepts that. You know, the wearing of masks, that does fall into a different category. Now, personally, for me, I'm going to wear a mask. If I go outside, I'm going to wear a mask. The reason I'm going to wear a mask is because doctors and people who study this, and they say it's a good idea.
Yeah.
They say it's a good idea. So that's why I'm going to do it. Now, I respect if you don't feel that way, God bless you. But, yeah, I'm not going to go
6 feet away from me.
No, I'm just not going to go there. I'm not. I know there's people in the chat room right now going, go, go, go. I'm not going to do it.
No.
But, yeah, so we'll see. What else we got?
Okay, someone is asking, Marissa's asking, do you think it's safer to fly or drive to Disney in July? They're coming from New York. For me, I mean, here's how many people are flying right now? Literally nobody. So I think it's your comfort level, but I mean,
yeah, I'm not getting on a plane
right.
anytime soon.
I would just drive, especially from New York. It's a straight shot from 95 down.
Okay, so there's something I have to do, and the earliest time I can get an appointment to do it is the end of June, and it's in Macon, Georgia, is where I have to go. And there was just not even a second thought in my head about flying to Atlanta. Like, if I end up going, which is still a big if I end up going, I'm taking my car.
Yeah.
And I'll probably sleep in my car because I'll be too afraid to stay in a hotel.
No,
But again,
yeah.
I'll see how I feel. I'll see how I feel come the end of June. So
It's too bad you got rid of that SUV now. You could have slept in the trunk. I think I'm the same way, because I was thinking like, okay, well, when it comes to like the holidays, this is probably a year like again where like I don't want to get on a plane, and we usually drive because I bring my dogs, but you can't do it in one day. So it's like I can only get as far as anywhere I can go in a day, right? So that's where I've marked myself. Where I'm with you. I just get nervous about a hotel, but I'm always been a germaphobe anyways. So this just adds that extra layer of there's poison everywhere now.
I wasn't a germaphobe prior to this. I think this is going to take me a while to get over. To be honest, I think it's going to take me a while before I'm like not wearing masks if I go outside and not scrubbing in for surgery every time I wash my hands.
Right.
I think it's going to be a long time. It's crazy. One question we're getting: Epcot opening or staying closed? What do you think?
I don't think all parks will open at once, and I think it will be based kind of like on offerings, and I don't know that Epcot doesn't have any sort of outdoor attractions or offerings, or it kind of, you have to balance out how many people can go into the park. So if it's like 25% restrictions, what can they do? So is it worth the amount of money it takes for the cast to run it and for like the guests to be paying the amount of money they're paying there? So I can see that one just being like, all right, well, we'll keep it closed, but let's hurry up with this construction so we have some stuff to hit them with. And
well, I think that's the reason they're going to keep it closed too.
To catch
personally,
up. Yeah.
Okay. Thought I heard something. I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Made me nervous.
Well, because there's nobody in the house. It's just me. So thought I heard the front door close, but I don't think that's the case. But if something happens, I'm live, right?
Yeah,
this will go viral.
Yeah,
this will go viral.
I'll be traumatized. Yeah.
I'll be stabbed in the neck while I'm doing a broadcast. That'll go, we'll get some traffic from it at least. But I think that in order to catch up on construction at Epcot, because they have to have that stuff ready by October of next year, right? That's why they're doing all this. It's all about getting ready for the 50th anniversary. Oh, that was something else that Lex mentioned in the earnings call. He was asked by one of the reporters, does the impact of Disney Cruise Line mean that they're not going to move forward with the new ships? He said there have been absolutely no discussions about canceling any of our projects or changing our deliverables, which I don't think is honest. I don't think there's any way you can go through this and not have at least had that discussion. But he's saying no. He's saying the Wish is still going to release, release when they said it was going to release. So we'll find out if that's accurate or not.
Elise, hello, Elise. Good evening. Elise is asking if
what are you, the maitre d'?
She wants to know your thoughts on festivals. When they open, do you think they're going to have any of the festivals, or do you think they're going to call it quits? Because I keep thinking about. I know it's not Disney, but I keep thinking about Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, and my actual fear that it might not happen because I love Halloween, but maybe with social distancing it could. But what about like Food and Wine Festival, do you think,
It really depends on how they're going to implement social distancing guidelines and if there's a need to implement them in the fall. I know what we're hearing is that this is going to be around for a while and that it may resurface again in the fall or the winter with flu season. But I think we have a lack of history. To some degree, we have a lack of history to go on with this. We can go back to the 1918 pandemic, the Spanish flu. and we can look at that. And we could see that they opened too soon. They reopened the economy too soon, and everything spiked up again. And I really hope that we're not in for that right now. I really do. But, it really depends. Everything is a wait and see. Do I think they'll do the festivals? If they can figure out a way to do it responsibly, of course they will. They make so much money. Plus, I think if, you talk about outdoor dining, and that's preferable to indoor, they may end up shutting all the restaurants down and doing nothing but festival booths to feed people in the parks. Who knows? But, because that's a big thing that, air conditioning can recirculate the virus.
Yeah. Which is great because everywhere in Central Florida has central air. So you're like, awesome.
We're all going to be walking around with those fans.
Yeah.
Going, I got the vapors. I got the vapors.
I guess Chapek said in the earnings call today that, I just lost it. He said they are, oh my gosh. Okay, Disney starts from a position of relative strength. They will not be issuing a dividend for the first half of 2020 and have reduced capital spending by pausing construction and refurbishment work. So, I don't know. I guess that answers that question about that. But
well, they're pausing construction and refurbishment work right now.
Yeah. Oh,
they're doing that right now.
Okay, but not not when it opens.
But I want to tell you what, they are not going to have Epcot looking like a construction zone.
Yeah.
On October 1st of next year. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. So I think they're more likely to keep Epcot closed and do that construction work. That's my guess, but I've heard that from a couple of places. I originally didn't think they were going to, but then I heard from a few places that that's been discussed. But again, all of this is absolute wild speculation. I want to make sure everybody knows that. This is all wild speculation. A lot of it's just I'm going on my gut. Will they increase the number of buses if they're enforcing social distancing? Well, I don't think they're going to open the monorails because those
are already filled with death and disease.
Right, exactly. I'm pretty sure the monorails are where COVID came from. But, that was the lab. That was the lab where they cooked up
petri dish.
Coronavirus. Was in that petri dish that is a monorail. So I don't see any way they reopen the monorails. So when you talk about getting to and from the Magic Kingdom, from the Transportation and Ticket Center, now what are your options? The ferry? Good luck. They would have to operate that ferry at 25% capacity to maintain social distancing.
It's already slow as crap, so.
So, and again, it's going to come down to how many people are they going to allow in the parks? Because if they're, what's the capacity for Magic Kingdom? I knew that number once.
Well, I'm going to assume it's probably around 80,000, right? Because that's what Shanghai is. I thought. Well,
Shanghai's a larger park too.
Is it?
So,
okay, yeah. Because
I think it's. I want to say it was like 60 or 70,000 was capacity.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about 20, let's say we're talking about 25% of that. You're talking about 20,000 people, 20,000 people.
Well, also think about it in terms of if all of Disney is operating at 25%. Then they already have enough buses to be operating. So it's like because they already operate them at Christmas and stuff,
They have enough buses, but they've got to do social distancing on them. So they're going to have far fewer people on a bus.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to be running buses every 2 minutes.
So get a job in the bus.
But I'm going to tell you what, I'm almost certain of this. I'm almost certain that initially it's going to be open only to resort guests. And quite frankly, that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. If people are staying at the resort, they're paying to stay at the resort. In this circumstance, right now that we're in, that's the way it should be. That if people are staying in the resort, they get at least priority entrance to the theme parks. So that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I mean, it'd be nice, it'd be nice to annual pass holders, because you think like, okay, well, Florida-based annual pass holders, because then you can also trace back, like, where were you? What did you, when you start opening it up further and further out, it gets more and more messy, but also they can't really. It's like what you said. Well, they could do that, or they could just do it with people who book packages, and then those people they can keep track of. They know where you came from. They know where you went. It makes more sense.
Yeah. Somebody's asking, what do you think I think the timing for Disneyland opening will be? And that's a different. Again, we're going to go back to what I said earlier, that not only do different countries have different customs and politics, different states within the United States have different considerations as well. So California right now seeing a really high number, had seen a very high number of cases. It was definitely on the higher side in California, New York, a lot of the more populous areas. Not as bad here in Florida as it was in other places in the country, thank goodness. So I think California is on a different timeline, but I would guess summertime.
Yeah,
summertime is what I'm thinking.
I think their governor had a much more I know they had like 4 phases, but they had phases within the phases too, so they had a much more structured grasp on their layout than we do too. But my friend Brandon also brought up, because I see people asking about the capacity a bunch in the chat, where that number's coming from. I think that capacity is coming from fire code. But he also said an important thing to note is that it's not 25% of guest capacity; it's 25% of property capacity, because it'll have to include cast members, like all the employees and everything. That as well.
No, so that's absolutely right.
I keep not thinking of that. Yeah,
that it's individuals, not guests. So, in short, if you are among the group, however Disney decides to do it, if you are among the group that are first back in the parks, you're going to have that park to yourself.
Yeah.
It's going to look like after hours, just, and who knows? Maybe Disney goes to that model. Could you imagine? They'll charge $250 a day.
Yeah.
And they're only going to allow 10,000 people in.
I mean,
or something like that,
People,
I don't think that'll ever happen,
but people do go crazy when it's a limited thing with Disney, when it's like merchandise or stuff like that, or the after hours parties or anything like that. People want it, and they want to pay. They'll pay more for the exclusivity of it. So it could end up being something billed like that for a while, at least.
Oh Lord. Thoughts on the resort pools? I don't know. I haven't heard about. I don't know. I haven't heard much or talked much about pool situations. I mean, I don't even know what the guidelines are about pools and coronavirus.
Well, I don't really want to get in a crowded pool to begin with before all of this, so it's one of those where I'm like, I guess I'm like, I don't want to be in a pool with more than 10 people.
Well. Yeah, look, some of the pools at Disney, can double as unflushed toilets. So, well, am I wrong?
Well, it's got a lot of turds swimming in it.
I remember back in the day, Disney Cruise Line, you'd stand on deck 10 on like the Magic of the Wonder, and you look down at the Mickey pool, and in the morning you could see Mickey's face clear as day. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it was just like the haze was over. And I'm like, these kids are swimming in an unflushed toilet. So that Rhino will never go in a pool again.
I pretty much until I own my own, I'm out.
Just made sure Rhino will never go in a pool again. I don't know. I really don't know enough about what the restrictions are around pools. Obviously, if there's a concern, they're not going to open them. So, yeah, we'll see. Let's see what else we got. If you have anything, go ahead and.
I'm just looking through here to see, because I got the one about the capacity, and people are disturbed by the unflushed toilet, as I know they would be. I would hope. I know that.
Am I wrong?
No, but
Am I wrong?
I I
You put 100 kids in a pool. Hell, you put 100 adult men in a pool. Come on. I'm just saying the truth.
I think the water parks are probably a far way away. I mean, like pools inside of apartment complexes are still closed right now and all that stuff. So it's I think we're probably looking at a little bit of time before that. So my guess is the resort pools will probably be extremely limited, if open at all.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you think we'll get some fall discounts? I look, the golden rule of discounts still applies. They're not going to do it unless they need to. And they're going to take a wait and see. They've already given the free dining into the summer now for people who had their reservations canceled. They're going to take a wait and see at this point before they release anything else. They can't trust their fall numbers. They can't trust their fall numbers right now. So if we see anything for the fall, we're not going to see it until June, July, when they have a much better idea of what they're looking at. Because I think and I can understand this. Their mindset is we may be past this by then. So we don't want to give away, especially right now, with the amount of money they've lost, they don't want to give away the store.
Yeah.
So if they can get people back in at full price in the fall.
Well, also.
And go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so if 25% capacity, what if that capacity is always at max? Why would they give you less? Why would they give you more of a discount if they're already that?
I think 25% is going to be in the beginning. And then I think you're going to see it go to 50 and then 75. And I think, again, it's going to be in these 2-week blocks, right? That's the incubation period for the virus. So if you get exposed to it today, sometime within a 2-week period, you're going to develop symptoms, generally speaking. So I think you're going to see an opening happen. You're going to watch a 2-week period go by. They're going to reassess where they are and then decide, okay, it's okay to move to phase 2, or no, we need to stay where we are right now. Or, oh, wow, everyone is dead, so let's, scale back a little bit. But I'll tell you, just from my gut, which, I'm right, I don't know, 60, 70% of the time, which means all the time.
I was going to say, if you were my mother, it would be all the time.
I'm trying to be honest, right? But no, generally speaking, my gut's pretty good about this stuff. This earnings call today, for me, confirmed everything I've been thinking and saying for the last month about what the timing on this is going to be. We're going to see mid-May. We're going to start seeing things reopen here. June, parks are going to reopen. Mid-July to early August, cruise line back in operation. Now the difference being that the CDC, where cruise lines are concerned, the CDC has the authority to say, nope, nobody sails. Nobody sails. So that's why it's a little different. Where cruises are concerned. But the CDC has said you can't sail until, I think it's July 18th, that cruises aren't allowed to go out. But I think, and look, knowing the audience, I'll tell you now, they do a 4-day to Castaway Cay, that ship's going to sell out like this. It's just going to sell out. So, this is one of those cases, cruise line in particular, going to have to play to its audience. It is absolutely going to have to play to its audience. And they're crazy if they don't, because we're the ones that will walk through fire to get on that ship. So we'll see. We'll see what they're going to do. We'll take one more, and then I got to wrap it up.
I saw one about character dining and reservation, or character dining, meet and greets, and whatever. I know that I think it was Shanghai that had that open first, and they had like basically like characters behind the ropes, and I think Chapek addressed that in his call as well, and said that there were going to be that there would be both face and fur characters, but I think that's going to be again at a distance. I don't think it's like come up and hug me and touch me.
I think that's your tagline. Hug me, touch me. The characters, look, if they're thinking that, God bless them, tell a 5-year-old kid that you got to stay 6 feet away from Mickey Mouse. Now, there are some kids who are afraid of the characters, so that's not going to be a problem for them. But hey, we all know there are those kids. They will break free. They will break free of the chains. Let my people go. And they are going to be running up to Mickey and Goofy and the characters. They're going to want to be close to the characters. I think that's a disaster waiting to happen if they choose to do that. I think if they can do outdoor shows where the kids can see the characters on stage, I think that's going to be easier. But I think if we're talking about a restaurant and I'm sitting here and Mickey Mouse is over there and I'm 5 years old, I'm getting a Mickey Mouse. Do your best. Do your best, woman. I'm getting a Mickey Mouse. My mother was an incredibly attentive mother. I still figured out ways to get away from her when I was 3-4 years old. All right, there's one more I'll take. Pete, when do you recommend booking a trip for any time the rest of this year? Look, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Everything about this is day by day. And it's also personal. The things and the considerations that I have about when I would travel don't necessarily apply to other people. Like I said, I'm in a higher risk group. So, fortunately, and I mean that, I thank God every night that I can work from home. I don't have to go out. My heart goes out. And I'm grateful that I have a company that employs people that all can work from home. They don't have to go anywhere if they don't want to. Look, I mean, keeping these guys busy and the theme parks are closed.
Yeah.
So I'm very grateful for that. But I'm grateful for that because I know so many people that are not in that circumstance, that are in this awful position, that maybe they are high risk. And in order to survive, they have to leave the house to go to work. And they're faced with that awful decision. And my heart goes out to them. So it's everybody's individual decision whether or not going to the parks are right for you. Right now, they're not open. They're not open. And, everything I've said in the last hour is assumption, is guess. I'm guessing. They're educated guesses, but it's a guess. So we just kind of have to do this one day at a time. We have to do this and say, okay, and kind of see where things are, and then make a decision that's right for us and our families. Look, I own a travel agency. I want you to go, right? Yeah. I want these parks open. Of course I do. But I can't get on here and tell you, yep, absolutely, you should plan for June 1st. No, I can't say that. Especially if I'm not willing to do it. I can't say that. Now, there's talk about going out to Aulani in September. And I'm like, well, check with me in September. Let me see where we are with this whole thing. Who knows? Look, maybe this ends up doing a SARS, right? What happened with SARS? It friggin' disappeared. Okay, it just disappeared. I don't think that's going to happen here, but who knows? We don't know. That's my point. We don't know. So We're going to try and read the tea leaves because, my God, I should open up a stand on the damn boardwalk because all I've been doing for the last 2 months is reading tea leaves, trying to gauge where this is going to go.
I'm going to buy you an infomercial for your birthday. Like,
yeah, there you
you'll
go.
be like Miss Cleo, only at night, reading the cards from Disney.
Well, that's what I feel like I'm doing, right? I feel like I'm divining out, trying to divine out what's happening, talking to people that I know, my contacts, and hearing what they're saying, and then kind of looking for those common threads between them. But that's also fun. It's also fun. I wish it wasn't so dire. I wish so many people's jobs weren't affected. But, so I really don't know what I think. I want to say we'll be safe in the fall, but, everything the experts and the doctors are saying, that's coming back. Now, the good news is, if it does come back in the fall, let's say everything falls off over the summer and the early fall, September timeframe, and it begins to come back November, December, January, we're not going to be caught off guard this time, right? This hit us out of nowhere. Nobody expected this. And, of course, the Monty Python. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. It's been a long day and I'm tired. So we are going to be better prepared. We're not, so much of this, so much of what's gone on was us, everybody in the country, walking around going, what the hell? What just happened? And just trying to get our bearings. So if, God forbid, this does resurge there is a resurgence of this at the end of the year, we at least we know what to do. We know what to do. Social distancing isn't going to be so crazy, and it's not going to be such a foreign concept. And hopefully we're better prepared for it. And I don't blame anybody for that. I don't know how you prepare for something like this. But I think the next time we're all going to be more mindful. And I think that's something that's going to hurt the economy because I think we're all going to be hoarding cash, right? Because you're not going to feel safe. And, the economy runs on us spending. And I'll tell you, the reason the economy sucks right now is I've stopped spending. Okay? Because I think I prop up most of the economy. It feels like that.
At least Florida.
At least the economy of Florida. Yeah. But you know what? We're all in it together, and we will figure it out as we go. And we'll keep doing shows like this and talking about new things as they come up. But I do want to take the opportunity to thank all of you guys for your support through this. Has been nothing I've never seen anything like it. You guys have been awesome to us, and I can't begin to tell you, and I'm sure I speak for everybody on the team when I say that thank you, that we really, really do appreciate it. And you know what? Some of this has been, it's been cool to do new things, like we're doing right now. And when was the last time, Rhino, I texted you and said we need to go out do a show?
I know, yeah. Just all of a sudden, I was like, okay, let me learn how to do something new really quick. And and it's a part of it where I was already like, as we're doing this, it's rolling through my head where I'm like, okay, well now I know this thing. How can I learn another thing? And my next thing is to be cool like Pete and get a better connection for this stupid camera, because how is it 2020 and all Apple computers still only have a 720 camera in their FaceTime thing is insane to me.
Well, now that I've got the studio camera hooked up, you have no idea what that took to rework the wiring in here so that this would work. Should have been simple, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
But my 1080 Logitech is that I've been using. I'm not using it, so if you want, I'll put it in the mailbox if you want to drive by and.
Well, I got to leave my house for my cracked tooth eventually, so the universe is trying to shove me out of the house. And I'm like, okay, I just got to be responsible, but
Yeah, well, Yeah, no, I've got that Logitech here that you can take. So, um, all right, folks. Well, thank you for joining us. Hope you enjoyed this little impromptu chat with Rhino and I. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Have a good night and stay safe.